Rakshana, shall we start our presentation now?
Vignesh, start.
We can start, right?
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Myself, Vignesh, I am welcoming you to the project presentation by 360DigiTMG. This presentation is about employee performance estimator. We have came up with an ML algorithm which can estimate the performance of an employee. Let us talk about the HR's work in a company which is managing an employee, solving their needs, but also evaluating an employee, which is using what? It has n number of variables. It's one of the difficult parts of an HR's job because of the vast range of variables associated with it. That is why we have came up with this ML model that can evaluate an employee performance using the inputs entered by the users. We have researched and analyzed a vast range of variables and finalized a few that has a significant amount of impact to the output, that is rating of an employee. As I have already mentioned, uh, the project is about employee performance estimator. We would like to thank and happy to announce that we have completed the project under the guidance of Mr. Sarath Chandar, who is Director of Datatrix and 360 Digit MG, and also under the mentorship of Mr. Vangshi and also Gomati ma'am. These are the team members who have worked in this presentation. Myself, Vignesh, Divish, Shika, Supriya, Ganesh, Bishwajit, Anjali, Swarna, Bindu, Kirti, Srikala, Prasanna, Ricky, Sandeep, Shivankar. And this is the content of this project. We have used CRISP-MLQ methodology to create this project, Employee Performance Estimator, which is listed ahead. Project overview and scope, project charter, CRISP-MLQ methodology, technical stacks, project architecture, data information and data dictionary, DBMS connection, exploratory data analysis, pre-processing, model building, deployment, future scope, and conclusion. The next slide will be taken over by Bindu. Thank you.
Thank you, Vignesh. Here is the slide on project overview and scope. The main aim of the project is to predict the performance of an employee, but also by analyzing the performance of an employee, one can understand the state of mind of user whether they are working from home or office in a better way. Also, by checking the performance of an employee, we can ask them to get back to office if they're not performing well. Also, we can show different ways to improve their performance. The scope of the project is to motivate employees for a higher level of performance by addressing areas for improvement and encouraging them to work and motivate for the better results. Thank you. The next slide is going to be presented by Ganesh.
Thank you, Bindu. The slide is project setup. The goal of the project is to measure the employee performance metrics, track and assess how employee is performing in their department. These matrices will help organizations decide to make improvement to their employees. The objective of the projects are to maximize the employee performance, satisfaction, and strength. Second objective is to minimize attrition from the company. The constraint is to track various matrices and especially satisfaction level and performance about work from home employees. Next slide, please. Now let us discuss the CRISP-MLQ methodology. CRISP-MLQ is a systematic process model for machine learning software development that creates an awareness of possible risks and emphasizes quality assurance to diminish these risks to ensure the machine learning project's success. A process model that we call cross-industry standard process for the development of machine learning applications with quality assurance methodology. CRISP MLQ covers a monitoring and maintenance phase to address the risks of model degradation in a changing environment. This extends the scope of the process model as compared to CRISP DM and related process models. In the CRISP MLQ model, there are 6 steps. The first step is business and data understanding. Here, in this initial step, which is concerned with identifying the scope of the machine learning application, we have defined the goal and the business objective and translate them to machine learning objectives to collect and verify the data quality and to finally assess the project feasibility. So measuring the employee's performance is the main goal. Then comes to the most important task, data understanding. Here we gather general insights about the data that will potentially be helpful for the further steps. Second step, data preparation. The second step of the CRISP MLQ process model aims to prepare data for the following modeling phases. Therefore, in this project, data selection, data cleaning, feature selection, and noise reduction tasks are performed. Then the third step is model building. Generally, the model phase includes model selection, model specialization, and model training tasks. The choice of the modeling technique depends on the machine learning, business objectives, the data, and boundary condition of the project. Last, the machine learning application is contributing. The goal of the modeling stage is to craft one or multiple models that satisfy the given constraints and requirements. The model selection depends on the data and has to be tailored to the problem. So here we use the naive based classifier to track an employee performance model among the others. Next step is model testing and evaluating machine learning model. In a machine learning model testing, the performance of fully trained model is evaluated on a testing basis. While evaluating a machine learning solution to a given business problem, it is important to not only assure the correctness of the results, but also to study its behavior on fails inputs. The fifth step in CRISP MLQ is deployment. Deployment step of a machine learning model is characterized by its practical use in the designated field of application. The steps will also give the first indication of whether the business and economic success criteria defined can be met. In this project, we have deployed our model using STREAMLIT. And the last step in CRISP MLQ is monitoring and maintenance. Once the machine learning model has been put into use, it is essential to monitor its performance and maintain it. When an machine learning model performs on a real world data, the main risk is the model stillness, which occurs when the performance of the machine learning model drops as it operating on unseen data. Therefore, for monitoring and retraining, reflecting on the business use case and the machine learning task might be valuable for adjusting the machine learning process. Thank you. Next slide presented by my colleague Vicky.
Thank you, Ganesh. Coming to the technical stacks. So here we are using Python language for data cleaning, EDA, model building, and visualization. Further, we have Spider as an IDE, that is integrated development environment for scientific programming in Python language. The libraries used here are NumPy for numerical calculations, Pandas for data manipulation, Matplotlib for data visualization, SQL as a database for storing data, and finally STREAMLIT for deployment. Basically, STREAMLIT is an open source Python library for creating and sharing web apps for data science and machine learning projects. Next slide. Coming to project architecture. Firstly, a database is being created using SQL using the primary data source. Python is then used to establish a connection to fetch this data from SQL, and the data prim is then created using Pandas. Further exploratory data analysis was done and the required data pre-processing like identifying and removing of outliers, handling missing values, and scaling was done using normalization functions. Further, the data visualization was carried out to get better insights on this data. A model is then created. Here we have considered like multiple models here, like decision tree, random forest, naive Bayes, SVM, and boosting. We have performed automatic modeling selection, model testing, and finally, after doing hyperparameter tuning on these models, we have finalized naive Bayes for the model building part, as this was giving better accuracy compared with other models. It was further deployed using Streamlit and a web as a web app was created wherein the end user can enter employees features and get this performance predicted, which is the goal of our project. Further presentation will be explained by Swarna. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. This is Swarna. I'm going to explain about data information. We have collected the data from primary resources. Our data contains 30 columns and 5,000 rows, and it contains entities such as annual income, relationship satisfaction, work-life balance, work from home or office, etc. The target variable is performance rating, which is a discrete data. And next slide, please. And this is all about data dictionary. Now let's see what are the features we have used in our model. Here we go with the first feature, that is employee ID. Employee ID is unique numeric identification code set for an employer. And next feature is age. It is an age of an employee. And next is the gender. And moving on to the next feature is marital status. It is defined as marital state. We have chosen only 3 for our model. Those are married, unmarried, and divorced. Next feature is department. It is a part of a large organization and can be organized around the number of different parameters. And moving on, the next feature is position. It indicates the employee position in the department. And the next feature is environment satisfaction. It indicates a healthy relationship between working environment and an employee job satisfaction. So here we have given the range for each of the employee. The range is from 1 to 4. If he is full satisfied with the environment, then he can rate as 4. If not, the range will be 1. And the next feature is job involvement. It tells that the employee is involved in the job or not. Here also we have given range from 1 to 4. And moving on, the next feature is job level. Job levels are the categories of authorities in an organization. Here also we have given same range. And next slide, please. And the next feature is employee name. It indicates the name of an employee. And next feature is overtime. It refers the period for which an employee has worked in excess of their working hours. We have given a range 1 or 0. If a person works overtime, then the range will be 1. If a person works in his given time schedule, then it will be 0. And next features are the hiring date and education level of an employee. And moving on to the next feature is person salary hike. It is usually a percentage of the employee annual salary. Here the range is 1 to 16. And the next feature is net connectivity. It indicates whether they are having net connectivity or not. It is most important for who is working from home. And here the range is 1 or 0. If he has proper net connectivity, it will be 1. If he is not having proper net, then it will be 0. And the next feature is job satisfaction. It happens when an employee feels he or she is having career growth and comfortable work life. This is very important for every employee. Here we have given range from 1 to 4. Next slide. And the next is behavioral competence. It helps to predict how successful a candidate will be at the job. We have given a range from 1 to 5. And moving on to the next feature is on-time delivery. It refers to a key performance indicator measuring the rate of finished product and deliveries made on time. Here we have a given range from 1 to 5. If he delivers on time, the range will be 5. That's how the rating has done here. And the next is ticket solving management. It is the process of tracking, managing, and resolving user requests and IT incidents. We have given range from 1 to 5. And the next feature is project completion. It refers how many projects did the employee complete. And moving on the next feature, that is working from home or office. It ranges 1 or 0.
And next feature is psychosocial indicators. It measures the mental health of an employee. This also range from 1 to 5. Next slide, please. And one more feature is working hours per day. It gives average working hours of an employee. Here the range is from 9 to 15 hours. 9 indicates minimum working hours. If he works more than 15 hours, it will be the overtime. And another feature is training time in months. It is a time limited series of training. We have given range from 1 to 6 months. And moving on to the next feature, that is work-life balance. It tells the division of one's time and focus between professional and personal life. Here the range will be 1 to 4. The next feature will be annual income. It is a total value of income during the year. It ranges from 5 lakhs to 25 lakhs. And moving on to the other feature, that is relationship satisfaction. It is not a property of a relationship. It is a subjective experience and opinion. We have given range from 1 to 4. And the final feature is performance rating. This is target column of our project. It measures and records the employee's performance here. For this, we have given range from 1 to 4. And that's all from my side. Next slide will be taken by Shika. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swarna. This is Shikha, and I'll be explaining the DBMS connection using SQL. So in many cases, there are a massive variety of data sources for data sets. Particularly in enterprise businesses, data is going to be stored in a relational database. Relational databases are an extremely efficient, powerful, and widely used way to create, read, update, and delete data of all kinds. In our project, we have used MySQL relational database, which use structured query language to access and make changes to the data. To make the database connection, we used MySQL Python connector to access the MySQL database from Python. To install the MySQL connector, open the command window and type pip install MySQL connector. Next slide. Coming to the steps to connect a Python application to a MySQL database. First step is to import the MySQL connector module, which we installed before. Now create the connection object as shown in the screenshot. Create the cursor object. Now execute the query. For example, select star from world.city where ID equal to 130. And it will return all the records which have ID as 130 from the database. Now the next slide will be taken over by Kirti. Thank you.
Thank you, Shika. Hi, everyone. I'm Kirti. I'm going to explain about EDA part, which is exploratory data analysis. In EDA part, we perform following steps. That is measure of central tendency. In it, we perform mean, median, and mode operations. And next is measure of dispersion. In it, we perform standard deviation, variance, and range. And then third and fourth business movement decisions. In it, we perform skewness and kurtosis. And then we use box plot to check the outliers. And then we have observed that null values are present in department, position, and educational data, which are imputed using mode of imputation. Here we use mode of imputation because this data is categorical data. To visualize the data, we use normal QQ plot to check whether the data is normally distributed or not. By using automated EDAs like detail, we analyze the data sets to summarize their statistics and creating various graphic representation to understand the data better. Next slide, please. Department-wise performance rating. For this comparison, we use the counter plot. From the given plot, we observe that sales department have highest number of employees with outstanding and good performance, and in human resources and finance department have less number of employees with high performance than compared to other departments. Next slide. Gender-wise overtime. For this comparison, we use histogram. From the given histogram plot, we observe that the males have done more overtime than females. Next slide, please. Here we have created correlation chart to show how variables are correlated each other. From this, we observe from this correlation chart, we observe that on-time delivery and work from home or office are the topmost factors influencing the performance rating. That's all about EDA part. Next slides will be taken care by Divish. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirti. Good evening, everyone. My name is Divish, and I'm here to explain you about data preprocessing. Data preprocessing is a process of transforming raw data into understandable format. It is used for implement. It is an important step in data mining and machine learning, as our models cannot understand the direct data from the user. Next slide, please. Here are some steps of data preprocessing. The first step is data cleaning. It is used to remove the incorrect data, inaccurate data from the data set. It is also used to treat the missing values by using different kind of imputation. Data reduction. It is used to remove the column or the row which have high correlation or which do not affect our results. And the third one is data transformation. It is used to change the format or the structure of the data. The next slide will be taken care by Supriya. Thank you.
Thank you, Divish. Hello, everyone. I'm Supriya. I'm going to explain model evaluation part. Model evaluation is an integral part of the model development process. It helps to find the best model that represent our data and how well the chosen model will work in the future. Evaluating model performance with the data used for the training is not acceptable in the data science because it can easily generate the over-optimistic and overfitted models. Next slide, please. We tried a different models and compare the accuracy of all models and come to conclusion that some models are overfitting. We tried decision tree, random forest, naive Bayes, SVM, and boosting. Here we tried all classification technique to build employee performance model. So depend on the performance matrix, we come to conclusion that naive Bayes models gives a better accuracy. So we go for naive Bayes model. Naive Bayes classifier separates data into different classes according to the Bayes theorem, along with the assumptions that all the predictors are independent of one another. It assumes that a particular features in a class is not related to the presence of the other features. So after building the model, we got the accuracy approximately 84% as a naive Bayes model. Next part is taken care of Vignesh.
Thank you, Supriya. Myself, Vignesh again. And this slide is about deployment using STREAMLIT library. STREAMLIT is an open source Python library that makes it easy to create and share beautiful custom web applications for machine learning and data science. In just a few minutes, you can build and deploy powerful data applications. STREAMLIT has an ability to fetch and cache data, draw charts, plot information on a map, and use interactive widgets like sliders to filter results. STREAMLIT makes it easy for the users to visualize, mutate, and share the data. The API reference of organizations organized by activity type, like displaying data or optimizing performance. Each selection includes methods associated with the activity type. STREAMLIT has several elements using which we can create our user interface, like text elements, data display elements, chart element, input widgets, media element, display progress element, control flow, utility, etc. This slide is about deploying the STREAMLIT application on STREAMLIT. First, we have to get all the file into a single folder and deploy using a command prompt. STREAMLIT has a separate command on which we can deploy our model into the user interface. That is STREAMLIT run API.py. Now this command will take us to the deployment page of our project, which is again performance rating. These are the features we have explained earlier. Now we are giving certain inputs to the model through which it can give us the predictions. As you guys can see, after the predictions, it has gave us a number 3, so that we also have a reference on the bottom referring to the number of the values it's given. Next slide will be taken care by Divish. Thank you.
Future scope, organization can use the result of this project for giving promotion to their employees. It can also be used to check whether their employees satisfied with working condition and employment satisfaction. Organization can use to improve the performance of the employee by going to the matrices where they are lacking. For next slide, I will like to call Vignesh.
Yeah, this is Vignesh again. This is the conclusion slide. As we already know, we have created a model for predicting employee performance. This part of the HR job has been a headache because of the extensive number of variables related to their decisions. That's where our model comes into play. We have collected and analyzed vast range of variables and concluded with the most important variables. Using the model, a most important decision of employee career can be made within split seconds just by giving the required inputs. Thank you, guys. We are open for questions. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, we can end this presentation.